This is Lawrence, a statue representing a Mohawk native who helped the Dutch settlers of Schenectady after the Massacre of 1690. He stands in the center of the colonial historic district called the Stockade. There was a fort on this spot, now gone, but surrounding him are a neighborhood of early houses. Simon Schermerhorn is known as the Paul Revere of Schenectady. He rode the 20 miles to Albany to warn of the attacking French soldiers and Iroquois Indians. He was one of a notable Schermerhorn family and an ancestor of mine. On the night of February 8, 1690, 114 French and 96 Indians seeking revenge for an attack on Montreal the year before entered the north gate of the stockade. They burned 70 houses, killing 60 settlers and taking 27 prisoners. The old wooden stockade and burned houses were replaced in a larger stockade area and what mostly still remains of the houses today. The center was the corner of what is now Church and Union Street, where today you can find the Stockade Inn. It was first a bank, a school for a while, and then the Mohawk Club. It has been renovated as a boutique luxury hotel honoring its history, and a perfect spot for exploring. Step outside into the centuries past. The first marker we encounter is for Arent van Curler, a leader of the 15 original settlers of Schenectady. His home was on the southeast quarter of this block. This is the first Reformed Church of Schenectady. This building dates from 1862, but it stands on the site of the original First Dutch Church of the Mohawk Valley, founded before 1680. A short walk takes you to the Schenectady County Historical Society. Around the back is the Krems Doolittle Library, where you can search the many files for Dutch genealogical roots of the 16 to early 1800s. Make an appointment to spend some time. Schenectady is a bustling northeast industrial town, corporate home to General Electric. But inside the stockade, this modern world seems far away. A stroll down the street leads to the corner of Washington Avenue and Cucumber Alley. A plaque marks the location of the northwest corner of the stockade. 100 feet away, a blockhouse was burned during the massacre. Of 24 soldiers, 6 were captured and 18 scattered through the village. This house is marked as the site of the first subway railroad in New York. It ran 15 feet underground as part of the Hudson and Mohawk Railroad. The Toll House, constructed for Dr. Daniel J. Toll. In 1821, he wrote of his idea for a canal between the Hudson River Falls at Cohoes and Lake Ontario by way of the Mohawk River. 10 years later, the Erie Canal was begun. Here the Mohawk River flows past. It's rather serene at the moment. The modern world can be glimpsed as passing traffic on the bridges at each end. 17 Front Street, once the home of New York Governor Joseph Yates. Built in 1760 by Tobias Van Eck and designed by Samuel Fuller. Among his many dignitary guests was the Marquis de Lafayette, who stayed for a night, as well as the likes of Aaron Burr and Martin Van Buren. Jacob A. Switz served in the local militia at the start of the American Revolution. Then he became Major General of the regional militia during the War of 1812. The house of John Yates at 2022 North Church Street. The property belonged to the prominent Yates family as early as 1737. But this house was built about 1790. The Jonkers house, built here in 1665, was burned in the Stockade Massacre, replaced by this house of Hendrik Brewer, which used the former house's foundations. Noted here as the oldest house in the city, Brewer was a fur trader and a distant ancestor. 23 Front Street is the John Marcellus house from 1750. John Marcellus was a grandson of Dutch immigrant Marcellus Jantz, a shoemaker. He followed the family trade and did well for himself. Next door, this house occupies the site of an earlier inn. The original building was later divided into 2 houses. Jeremiah DeGraff was a business partner of his neighbor. 26 Front Street is the birthplace of Governor Joseph C. Yates, remodeled as a Victorian design. This was the house of Captain Philip Schuyler, the first commandant of Queen Anne's Fort, Colonel Christopher Yates, a leader of the Sons of Liberty, and builder John W. Tiller, who renovated it in 1816. The old public market has been on this corner of North Ferry Street for 230 years, the oldest operating market in America. St. George's Episcopal Church. This building was begun in 1759. The military blockhouse was located on this spot, on the northeast corner of the original stockade, and the church was used as a barracks during the Revolution. John Peake was a wheelwright. This was his shop he turned into his home. Built about 1790, was the home and store of the widow Kendall, where she sold cakes and ale. Nicholas van der Bogart was also an ancestor relation. This was a later house built about 1862 to 1872. The Yates House at 109 Union Street was built by Abraham Yates sometime around 1725. That's my personal trip around the stockade, and after strolling through history for a day, I stepped around the corner a block away to rejoin the modern world for a beer and a pizza. Subscribe and join me on my journey to discover America's heritage.